Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market view for Monday the 17th of April to Friday the 21st of April 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started. All right, so let's start with the Nifty analysis and let's start with the monthly chart like we do always. And let's see what's happening on the monthly chart. So the monthly chart, we are still respecting this level of demand and this demand is holding. We are slightly getting a little bit of a selling pressure here. Today we saw that the markets did react from the daily supply zone. And that's why I was saying in my last week's video as well that a close about this candle um, will be very, very crucial. But if the market does fail to close, then we might move into a consolidation or the markets might turn a little bearish in the short term. If you look at the weekly chart now, this is the weekly candle, and you can see that the markets did open and went down pretty strongly. And right now we are seeing a little bit of a reaction from this area. This is the original level from where the prices actually have fallen down. So this is another retest of the level. So now since we are retesting this weekly supply, we need to be careful on longs. Let's move on to the daily chart. And on the daily chart, if we just let me just remove all the tools here. Okay, so we have this level of demand here on the daily chart. So this will be an area to watch out for. And then what we are seeing right now is a reaction which is coming from this area over here. Okay, so more or less, this is going to be a key area now. And we did see a little bit of a bounce, intraday bounce coming, but whether this bounce will sustain or more shorts will be created, that is something we have to see. The volatility levels are pretty low right now, so option premiums are pretty deflated. So debit spreads or debit strategies will be a good idea to get into. Let's move on to an intraday chart. So on the intraday chart, we are seeing this gap level over here. This is your pro gap. So which means that there is some supply over here. Now, usually whenever such gaps are created after a very, very strong uptrend in price, the day this gap occurs, generally those gaps tend to not fill. But what we are seeing is that we are seeing another rise in price coming into play. And more or less, there is a possibility that if there is a supply zone on the smaller time frame somewhere within this area, that might get tested before the gap level. So let's try and see, or let's try and find out, because the markets fell down pretty fast in the morning after they opened. The high was nearly 863, which is not to be seen on this chart. But if you go to the daily chart, the high was indeed 17,863. Okay, so the 863 high was printed on the chart, and because of the intraday tick, this probably was not captured on the intraday time frame. However, if you have a look at this area of supply, this is a pretty decent area of supply. So any gap up into this area will lead to another fall in price. So what we are expecting tomorrow is, in just in case if the markets do tend to be a little bullish, then what we might see is we might see something like this happening. So markets might just gap up into this area and then again go further down, and this time more or less it's likely to break the day's low. If that happens, we might head towards this 17,428. So what we need to wait and watch tomorrow is that when the market opens, whether it opens gap down or whether it opens gap down and then turns to the downside. So we want to possibly wait for some kind of a confirmation. And once we get that confirmation, then we might pull back to that supply zone which is created on the confirmation and then possibly take the trade to the downside. All right, let's quickly have a look at Bank Nifty. So today, Bank Nifty, although the Nifty was nearly 240, 50 points down at some time because of the IT results, the IT sector basically pulled down or dragged down the overall index. But let's quickly have a look at Bank Nifty. So I'm just going to go to the Bank Nifty chart here. Let's wait till it sinks across all the time frames. So if you look at the Bank Nifty is holding pretty strong. The monthly chart is holding on to its level of demand. We are seeing a strong move to the upside. As compared to the Nifty, the Bank Nifty is in a much better position. But now we are also seeing a little bit of a reaction coming into this supply zone, right? So we got to be a little careful now on the longs that I was saying. We had an initial test of the level prior, and now this is going to be another level where you might be able to see a little bit of a selling pressure coming in. Okay, so let's just wait and watch to see what happens. And let's move on to the daily chart now. And let's see if we see anything on the daily chart. So on the daily chart, within this weekly area, we do have a daily supply zone, and price just touched this daily supply zone today and has given a pretty strong reaction, right? So we need to now be careful on longs because now we are in the higher time frame supply area. And if you go onto the intraday chart, the supply zone already, although it's not showing that it is tested on the intraday charts, it's actually already tested. So which means that there is a possibility that we might see a potential gap down. In case if that happens, then more shorts will be triggered. And there is also a possibility that we might see a gap up into this area. Any gap up into a higher time frame area will induce more shorting, which means what we can expect is the markets might come into this area, do a little bit of consolidation, and then give a strong move to the downside. So as a trader, you can take the pullback to any of the demand zones on the smaller supply zones on the smaller time frame and ride this move to the downside. We just got to be knowing right now at this point in time that we are more or less in the expensive area of the price curve, and buying is not a good idea. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a 5-minute chart here. See if there are any key or some important levels on the 5-minute chart of Bank Nifty. So so although Bank Nifty also pulled down, it gave a considerably strong bounce and nearly recovered from nearly 41,805 odd levels to 42,260. So it was a pretty smart recovery by the Bank Nifty. And looking at the left, I still see there is a possibility of one supply zone over here. Let's try to quickly scrunch through the charts to just see what's here. So just watch out for this level on the Bank Nifty with an intraday perspective. I think prices have come, I don't think they have come closer to that level. But yeah. So this is that level to watch out for, 42,507, 42,583 for this week, to just see if the Bank Nifty reacts strongly from this area. All right, let's move on to the USD INR now. Let's plot the USD INR. And the USD INR is not doing anything interesting as of now. In fact, as I said, that it has just been consolidating for nearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in a row. The demand zone is right at the bottom here. If you look at the weekly chart, on the weekly chart also it has been consolidating. It's more or less getting into a pattern-like formation right now, which indicates that probably there is a breakout or a breakdown expected on this chart. If you go to the daily chart, no clear levels on the daily. If you go to the intraday charts, this is that area that we have been watching out for, 81.44, 81.35, but still prices have not visited this level yet. And if you go on to a 5-minute chart, see what's happening over here. So if you look at the 5-minute chart of the USD INR, we do have this this gap area here. which is the closest supply zone. And if you look at the bottom over here, we do have this area of demand. So it'll be interesting to see if the price does drop into this area, can the market come down here and then move up towards this area to fill the gap. So these are going to be the key levels to watch out for on the USD. All right, let's have a look at the ICICI Bank stock and let's look at some key levels. So there is this one supply here and this level of demand over here. Let's fine tune this a little bit. Right, and right now we are right in the middle of the two zones. So what we can expect is that the moment the price comes to this area, we might see a little bit of a selling pressure. And in case if ICICI Bank moves down over here, then it might continue to move up or vice versa. So these are the two key levels to watch out for on ICICI Bank. Let's move on to the next stock. Let's look at M&M. And if we look at M&M, all right, the next stock on the radar is M&M. And M&M is also showing signs of consolidation. Now, what are some of the key levels to watch out for? We have this one supply zone here, 1258 to 1294. We have a nice strong move to the downside. And if you look a little further down, we have this this area of demand. So in case if M&M does tend to move up, then there is a nice profit margin for M&M to fall down to the downside, right? We have a nice break of all the lows over here, which indicates that any rise in the price is more or less going to push the price to the downside. So let's wait and watch in the coming week for M&M to come closer and test this daily supply zone and ride its move all the way to the downside. 1258 to 1294 is going to be a low. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this week's analysis. Please do give your valuable comments, and if you do like our channel, do not forget to hit the subscription button. Your comments are absolutely appreciated and will be replied to. Thank you very much for watching, and take care and have a great trading week. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.